A plan in the works to give schools $1 billion to reopen this fall. A closer look at what it entails.
Plus, another hot day across the state and an important reminder what you can do when our fire danger is high.
We break down another TV campaign ad in the U.S. Senate race, this one attacking Senator Daines.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Tonight, crews are burning out a wildfire between Hot Springs and Perma that's estimated to be around 300 acres. As of right now, there are no evacuations in place. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim McGonigal.
And I'm Hallie Schwinnard. This serves as an important reminder. Conditions are dry and our fire danger is high.
MTN's Matt Holzaffel tells us why and what you can do to help.
Maps are showing western Montana, Idaho, and eastern Washington are going to really get hammered in July, August, and September.
Fire season in Montana typically starts in July.
Grasses are getting drier and they're getting longer, and then with the hot days and the wind, fire can definitely advance quicker.
And there are things that you can be doing to help stop fires from starting.
Never pull off the side of the road with a vehicle that's been ran, especially in the high grass or unmowed or unkempt areas. If you do happen to go camping, make sure you're following fire alert and whether or not burning is allowed. Always extinguish fires with the proper procedure. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to walk away from.
One factor that can contribute to a more extreme fire season is what's called fuel load. The longer and heavier rains we see earlier in the year, the more the plants and the grass will grow. As those plants and grass dry out as we head into July, the more ideal the conditions are for fires. Especially this time of year, it's important to keep an eye on fire danger reports and red flag warnings.
If it's during a red flag, you shouldn't have any campfires at all. I shouldn't even be out doing that. Definitely no outdoor burning, no refuse piles burning, etc. like that. So just make sure your behavior matches the conditions that are on the ground.
In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
Disaster and Emergency Services asks that you monitor their website and Facebook page to stay up to date on current fire conditions. Well, today was a sunny and warm day. Tomorrow, looking to be the hottest day of the year so far, and our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. Grant, sounds like the heat will be on.
It will, Tim, and just like how Matt was talking about with these fires, we do not need to see conditions where we're looking at warm temperatures, low humidity, and high winds, and that's what we're kind of going to be getting into, so to speak. Tomorrow, we're going to have the high temperatures there, 95 degrees in Great Falls, 93 in Helena, as well as up towards Hayes, 97 in Havre and Glasgow, and 102 in Jordan. So the fuel will be there for the hot temperatures. Now, what about right now? Well, here in Great Falls, we're seeing 89-degree temperatures, 92 in Helena. We are looking at winds at 7 miles an hour in Great Falls and 15 in Helena. So that's when we compile this kind of equation and we say, okay, well, we actually are looking at 24% humidity, relative humidity in the area of the Electric City, and 16% in the capital. Pretty much all of us, we are dry, and that's not what we want to see. And we're going to continue to see these conditions over the next several days, well, today and tomorrow. But we are looking at a game changer in the forecast moving in. And we're going to talk about all that and the possibility of some severe weather on Thursday. But for now, back to you.
Thanks, Grant. The Governor's Grizzly Bear Advisory Council is getting close to wrapping up their final recommendations for bear management and conservation in Montana. Earlier today, the big topics included where the bears should be living in Montana and the role of hunting. The consensus on hunting was not reached by the council members, but they do agree there needs to be more education and outreach regarding grizzlies and help landowners prevent bear conflicts.
It is clear to everyone in the world, or at least in Montana, that more education, outreach, and prevention is absolutely necessary in order for us to be able to live with bears and for bears to be able to live with us.
The advisory committee is expected to make their final recommendation at next month's meeting.
Since we last reported late Monday night, there have been 126 recoveries, which decreased our active corona cases by 52. There are over 1,140 active cases. 40 people have died due to complications with the virus, and 49 people are currently in the hospital battling COVID-19. It's arguably one of the biggest questions on the minds of parents. Will in-person learning actually take place this year? Tonight, Congress is considering sending school districts over $100 billion to safely reopen. But is it enough, and where will that money go? Our Joe St. George is in Washington with more.
We don't actually know when recess will actually happen again and school playgrounds will be utilized, but we do know that Republicans want to reopen schools, and they are prepared to spend billions to make it happen.
This country wants its kids back in the classroom this fall, learning, exploring, making friends.
That was Republican leader Mitch McConnell today. His GOP plans send $105 billion to school districts to reopen. Because there are 13,000 plus school districts in the country, that breaks down to around $8 million per district, although every district will get a different amount. Bigger districts, more money. Districts that stay closed, less. The money, we are told, would be used for sanitation and reconfiguring schools for safe learning. Is it enough money, though? Well, it's not enough money to build more classrooms so students can socially distance, but it will help districts buy PPE, including masks for teachers. We should be clear, though, this doesn't mean your child's school will reopen. That decision will still be handled locally and in some states by the governor. And in some locations, teachers are even beginning to speak up. In Florida, the state's largest teachers union has sued because they don't want to go back to in-person learning this fall. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
And as we mentioned last week, Great Falls Public Schools has drafted a plan to reopen schools based on state and local health regulations. That plan will not become official until August 10th, and until that time, you're encouraged to read through it and give your feedback.
Federal student loan borrowers are struggling right now, even with payments on hold. This issue of making ends meet is challenging as we work to rebound. A survey by Student Loan Hero shows nearly half of borrowers have lost income during the pandemic. 34% have had their pay or hours cut, and more than 1 in 3 are experiencing food insecurity. The pause on payments is scheduled to end in about 2 months, and advocates warn borrowers just aren't ready. The nonprofit Student Defense says now is the time to be your own best advocate if your financial situation has changed.
Back in March, when it was, when the CARES Act was passed, I think September 30th made a lot of sense. At that point, we were hopeful that by September, we'd have the virus under control, that we'd be, getting back to normal, that things would be reopening. But of course, here we are in July, and it's clear that's not the case.
Student Defense says even in good times, servicers are struggling to keep up with the volume of calls from borrowers, so they'll likely be overwhelmed if the pause on payments lifts at the end of September. The Education Department is expected to start communicating with borrowers next month about their loan repayments starting.
Well, hotels will likely be the next places to require guests to wear a face mask. The American Hotel and Lodging Association says some of the largest hotel chains in the U.S. are looking into a face mask policy. This comes as hotels continue to try and pick up the pieces since the COVID-19 economic fallout. Hotels we spoke with say they're still 50% of pre-COVID staffing, and they're seeing far fewer bookings. We spoke with the general manager of the Wingate Hotel. He says during this time of the year, they'd normally be fully booked.
And, with all the different travel things that have happened and all the different events such as the Coaches Clinic, the State Fair, things of that nature that would normally be hotter sellers throughout the summertime, with those not being there, we have not seen hardly any of the traffic that we would have normally seen.
Talk about tough. We looked up the numbers across Montana. The state has roughly 38,000 hotel jobs. Of those, some 17,000 were lost as a result of the pandemic.
After serving the citizens of Cascade County for nearly 8 years, one judge is hanging up his robe, but his fight for justice isn't over. I'm Keely Van Mittendorp, and I'll have that story next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Yesterday, as part of MTN's coverage of the 2020 election, we fact-checked a pair of TV campaign ads attacking Democratic U.S. Senate candidate and Governor Steve Bullock.
Today, Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison does the same for a Democratic ad that's attacking Bullock's opponent, Republican incumbent Senator Steve Daines. The underlying issue in all of these ads is the same: health care.
The ad going after Daines is from Majority Forward, a national group affiliated with the Democratic Super PAC. It starts by saying drug and insurance companies are profiting from the coronavirus pandemic, and then says this about Senator Daines.
Daines voted to give them billions in tax breaks as they jacked up prescription prices.
The ad is referring to Daines' vote in December 2017 for the Republican tax cut package, probably the signature achievement of the Trump presidency and his GOP allies in Congress. Large corporate tax cuts in the bill certainly benefited drug and insurance companies, but it benefited all corporations doing business in the U.S., large and small, and lowered income tax rates for individuals too. And Daines pushed for amendments to the bill to increase its benefit for smaller businesses. Daines' office also notes that in 2019, he was one of several Republican senators supporting a bill opposed by the drug industry that's meant to reduce drug prices through rebates and other pricing practices. A year later, however, that bill is still pending in the Republican-controlled Senate. Majority Forward's ad then makes this statement about Daines.
Daines even voted to let insurance companies deny coverage for people with pre-existing conditions like diabetes, asthma, and cancer.
They're talking about Daines' several votes in Congress to repeal the 2010 Affordable Care Act, the law that stopped insurers from denying coverage or applying high premiums to people with pre-existing medical conditions. Daines still opposes the ACA, but says he supports protections for people with pre-existing conditions that are contained in a separate Republican bill that's before the Senate. Democratic critics, however, say that bill has loopholes that could allow discriminatory pricing by health insurers. We should also mention that Majority Forward is a dark money group. It doesn't reveal its financial donors. And Montana's disclosure laws do not apply because Majority Forward is spending money on a race for federal rather than state office. Reporting from Helena, I'm Mike Dennison, MTN News.
You can see Mike Dennison's full analysis of this ad and others on our website.
The Cascade County Treasurer's Office wants to let people know that delays in title work should be expected. This is due mainly to personnel shortages and COVID-19 related absences. They're recommending that people mail in for their renewals or go online to cascadecountymt.gov. There you can access online renewals, 40-day temporaries, and title work. If you upload your title work online, you can get a temporary title. Then you can mail your paperwork to the Treasurer's Office at 121 4th Street North. They will finish that process. You can also schedule appointments through the online portal. The office said that making an appointment online makes it easier for them to more quickly help people who need immediate assistance.
Great Falls District Judge Greg Pinsky submitted his letter of resignation to the Montana Supreme Court today. MTN's Keely Van Mittendorp talked with Pinsky about his accomplishments serving residents in Cascade County.
Cascade County voters elected Greg Pinsky to serve as district judge in 2012 and again in 2018.
To have the community express their confidence in me twice is something that I'm very grateful for and very appreciative of.
In a time where racial injustice is in the spotlight following the death of George Floyd, Pinsky says he's proud of the ways he's fought for equality here at home.
I've been able to do things to provide racial equality to Native Americans in the justice system and to try to address some of those disparities that exist.
Pinsky says one of his biggest accomplishments is the creation of the Veterans Treatment Court here in Cascade County.
And I'm so proud of the 157 veterans that have come through that program and really transformed their life from hopeless to hopeful.
Pinsky says he's been able to help officials in 26 states establish programs of their own based off this Veterans Treatment Court. And his fight for justice isn't over.
Create a veterans law clinic here in Cascade County to provide free legal services to veterans who need it.
Pinsky plans to continue serving the citizens of Cascade County until his last day on October 2nd. In Great Falls, Keely Van Mittendorp, MTN News.
Pinsky says he's also thankful to the 163 families who have allowed him to be part of adoption ceremonies. Judge Kutzman will be taking over the Veterans and Drug Court treatment courts.
Well, tonight temperatures will fall down to around 57 degrees in Great Falls, 59 in Helena, and 58 in Havre. Don't go away. Your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Now, with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Tuesday, even if it has been a lot warmer than what we typically see. 89 degrees for us in some locations like towards Helena. We saw 93 degrees. Now, the average here in the Electric City is around 85. We did see 89. The record was set back in 1931 when it was 103 degrees, the same year that Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi, came out. I love saying that name. It just rolls right off the tongue. We are looking at 89 degrees for our high today. 93 in Helena, 87 in Lewistown, 89 89 up towards Havre, and let's see, 91 out towards Missoula. Currently, we are the camera is black right now, but we are seeing temperatures around 89 degrees with that north wind right around 7 miles an hour. 90 degrees down towards Helena, 91 in Billings, 84 in Lewistown, 89 in Havre, out towards Missoula around 91 degrees. And it has been windy in some locations. We saw a 20-mile-per-hour wind gust here in the Electric City, 25 down towards the capital, and only 17 out towards Glasgow. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds that have been making their way along the high line, but not really producing any rain. We have been looking at clear, sunny skies, and it has been a very warm day, and we're going to continue to see that tomorrow. And here's why. We have this high pressure that's really influencing our entire weather pattern, and as it does so, we will continue to see it tomorrow. It's going to allow for a warm southwesterly wind to be brought in, and that's going to help our temperatures surge into the mid to upper 90s in a lot of locations. But behind that, we do start to see a low pressure come down from Canada with the trailing cold front. Now, tomorrow, I know this model does suggest we could be looking at a few showers. I think that's going to mainly be in the nighttime hours. I don't think we're going to see it that early, but by around 6 a.m. Thursday, things are going to start to take a change. We're going to look at cloud cover being brought in, and we're going to be looking at our temperatures dropping down to around 84 degrees. This low pressure, it will start to get closer towards our area by around Thursday in the evening, and because we're seeing those cooler temperatures, it comes at a price this time of year. We are going to start to see these showers and thunderstorms form that start to rise up into the Treasure State, and that will allow for, well, occasional lightning, damaging wind gusts, and small hail will be possible. And this is why the Storm Prediction Center, they went ahead and put a low risk out for our area. My main concern, especially for the southwestern part of the state, will be the lightning, because any lightning with how dry it's been, well, it's going to start some fires. So we need to make sure that we are staying weather aware, and we're also doing our part to throw away cigarettes properly if you do smoke, and please do not start any fires. Going throughout the day tomorrow, our winds will start to get up to around 20 to 30 mile per hour winds by around 7 p.m. for both Helena and Great Falls, 5 to 10 in Lewistown and Havre. Our driest time of the day tomorrow will be right around that 5:30 mark, or excuse me, 2:30, when we're seeing 91-degree temperatures and 15% humidity. So that will be the driest part of our day tomorrow. As far as our temperatures are concerned we are jumping up to 95 tomorrow before dropping down to around 86 on Thursday and Friday, 84 on Saturday, and they're going to start the steep up climb for the hill on Tuesday with 91-degree temperatures. You can always stay weather aware by following me on social media, as well as downloading that free KRTV app. It is free there. Temperatures again tomorrow, 95 clouds will start building in. Let's stay weather aware on Thursday that we could see some possible strong thunderstorms. 86 on Friday, mostly sunny. By Saturday and Sunday, though, we start to see more sun, 85 degrees on Sunday, 87 on Monday, and mostly cloudy skies on Tuesday. Tim?
Thanks, Grant. Great Falls native is making a big name for herself in the world of sports. Her story is next.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
No one would mistake Montana for a hockey hotbed, but one Great Falls native has pushed herself to the highest levels of the sport.
Tom Wiley caught up with Celeste Brown, who is taking the next step in her career way ahead of schedule.
Great Falls native Celeste Brown has always followed her own path.
Like, everything's happening for a reason, and your universe has some sort of plan, and so I'm where I'm supposed to be in the moment, whatever that moment might be.
But at the end of that path was always hockey.
Celeste Brown on the setup from Courtney Kunachika.
Her journey brought her to a prep school thousands of miles away from home as a teenager, led to a national championship at the Rochester Institute of Technology, and later a professional playing career in the NWHL.
You know, I might not come from a hockey hotbed, and I might not, initially had some of those connections, and I might not have that pedigree behind me. And so it pushes you to, really do everything you do to like the utmost level.
But now, after 3 seasons as an assistant coach at Penn State, Brown's path takes her in a new direction. Last week, she was named the head coach of her alma mater, where she'll lead an NCAA Division I women's hockey program at age 28.
You always aspire to be a head coach, and in my mind, I was full go once I got into coaching. It was like sort of mission in front of me. I'm going for it. I'm extremely grateful to be where I am, and I'm very excited. When you're trying to get to the peak of your profession, it's like, which is the next step that's going to make me better at what I do? And this was it.
Like every coach in the country, Brown steps into an uncertain future amidst the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
You know, the goal is to just approach it with an open mind and understand that things could change from one day to the next. And, you know, whatever our hand is dealt to us, we're going to deal with it and go into it full go and positive attitude and full effort.
But she's used to the uncharted path, and she plans to use her varied experience to help push the Tigers back on the path to success.
I'm ready to learn and grow as a coach. You know, the biggest thing I can say is rebuilding is a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Tom Wiley, MTN News.
Brown is currently coaching in Idaho coaching at a clinic, but plans to visit Montana before returning to New York to start recruiting. We'll have a final look at the forecast next. Stay with us.
Well, tomorrow, a very hot day, 95 degrees. We're going to see temperatures get up to around 102 out in Jordan. Be weather aware, though, on Thursday. We could be looking at a few possible strong thunderstorms, especially down towards Helena.
All right, well, that's all the time we have. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.